Some of you may have seen a video on my channel about EDC gear and other things that I've been obsessing about with like the whole EDC type of videos. Now, while I did go over some of those things that were essential for photographers and videographers, there's a few things that I think more generalist people can use, but also I think it's still valuable as a photographer, videographer to use these if you extrapolate just a little bit past some of that stuff and just make it so that you have it with you at all times. So here's a few of my recommendations that I think are really cool and will probably help you in some way or another at some point in time. So first off, I'm gonna start with a pretty obvious one. And this is just something that many people carry around in the EDC spectrum and even in photographers and videographers because you kind of need this stuff to tighten things. If you know what I'm talking about a multi-tool. Multi-tools are pretty self-explanatory. You just have a lot of stuff in this little tiny tool. So while I'm not going to go in depth with this, I'm going to show you a few things that might be in some of your multi-tools. So this is one of my favorite ones, is the Gerber clutch. It's really small, but you get pliers with it that work really well. Then you have like a knife, like a small like shilling knife or something where you can just carve stuff, and then a screwdriver, and I think a nail file and a Phillips screw as well. You get a lot of small things in this little keychain, and I've used this a lot here and there to just help me when I need to, tighten a screw on a camera, or if I need to just grasp something or unscrew something. I also have another version which is somewhere in my house, which is instead of pliers, it has scissors, and those scissors actually help. There's a funny story where when I was doing a wedding, they didn't have something to cut the ribbon, so they actually had to use the little like multi-tool that was on my keychain, and they had to basically cut it with that. It was kind of random looking, but I mean it still worked. But yeah, just funny story of how that came in clutch when I actually needed to. So I think a multi-tool is always going to be useful regardless of where you are, except maybe in certain places where you can't bring it in, or like on flights and things where you might get it taken away. So just don't put it there. Now next up is actually similar to a multi-tool, but I actually do think this is a lot more useful, and if you can get past certain securities, I think they'll be fine with it. But just a word of caution as well. This is also, I think it's a Swiss Army or Victorinox one. The branding's gone off because it's kind of like worn down a lot. I've had this for years. But essentially, if you can't see, it is a spoon and a fork. Let me just show you. So as you can see, we have a spoon and a fork. And it's not like you have to use only one side. What this does is that actually comes apart and actually has a mini knife in there too. But basically, you have the essential eating tools in here, and you can separate them and use them to eat. And I actually have one time where I was helping someone else out and we were eating pudding, and I didn't have a tool to eat with, so I actually pulled this out and I used the spoon of it to have the pudding. Now another one, this is actually from a few grooming channels I looked at. Actually, I think specifically Alpha M, he talked about this, and I think it was just something cool to have. I didn't go for anything crazy, but this one was off AliExpress. You can see how small it is, like palm sized. If you're wondering what it was, it's a grooming kit. Now this has, I think, like 8 pieces, 1, 2, 3, yeah, something like that. But it has like scissors, tweezers, nail clippers, etc. I think this is invaluable to have, especially in such a small kit. And obviously blacked out looks really cool too. But really simple, really easy. And the reason you want to have that on with you is because let's say you're going to an event and something is potentially looking bad. Like let's say you have a bit of a unibrow and you want to take care of that right away, or your nails are too long and it's gonna hurt you in some way, or like it's just bothering you. You have an option right there. You just go stand outside, you do that, and then you're good. Now lastly is something that I think many won't really think about, and this something can go really expensive probably, but I found a really cheap version, and I think it's just good for when you need it in a pinch. But this is a paracord bracelet, but not any paracord bracelet. So if you can't see as I'm turning it, this actually has electronics in it. This is I think a USB-C version or micro USB. There's different versions I have of these. I have 2 different ones. This one's like a paracord one. The other one's kind of like more like nylon wire or something like that. But essentially, this is a cheap little cable that is great for if you need to put it as a charging cable or maybe connect something. Just good in a pinch if you need to, and you can wear it as a bracelet. Let me show you. So as you can maybe see, it's on my wrist. It's a little bit loose, this one, but yeah, you can make do with it, and you just put it on somewhere. You can even just clip it somewhere if you're not going to wear it, but it has the novelty of being able to wear it. So I think having something like that is really cool. It's a little bit like an incognito thing, but also it works when you need it. And if you forget a thing or your cable stops working for whatever reason, you just have this with you. Now, one I don't actually have with me because I have to still get it eventually, but I think that's going to be valuable. Some of you may or may not know, I wear glasses. So for me, having to switch between glasses and sunglasses is annoying sometimes because you have to pull out 2 different pairs and then switch them and then put one away. But one thing that I think would be useful for pretty much anyone, but especially those who are glasses wearers, is getting the transition lenses. Not entirely sure because I've never really used them, but I think that would be some cool little bonus thing that would be great because you don't have to spend as much maybe to get them, depending on where you get them from. But even if you have to spend a little bit extra, you don't have to worry about taking them on and off. Like they're just there. So I think that's another great option to have if you need just an everyday carry and just slim things down so you don't have to take 2 pairs of glasses. So I think these are some great options to have as EDC gear for pretty much anyone, but especially if you're someone who has some electronics on you, like photographers and videographers, or if you are just going somewhere that you look presentable, great options. And one other great one is this little umbrella. You can see this is the case. This case is like harder. You can see it's not too hard, but it's enough that it's gonna protect the umbrella inside. And this is the umbrella. It's literally gonna be pocket sized. So this is what it looks like if it's all crumpled up and in the smaller size. It extends to pretty much full size and it works really well. I actually use this in a downpour literally today. So this is something that's great to have all throughout when you're like doing photo or video, because you might need this in a pinch, and to carry a full-size umbrella is not exactly feasible all the time. So this is good, and the quality is decent, so you're not gonna have to worry. I'm pretty sure it has some like coating as well that allows it to be good when there's a lot of sun or rain, so it's more resistant compared to the very cheap ones. And this I think cost me like $10 to $15, so it wasn't crazy either. So that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and trust me when I say I'm going to be still making a lot of photography and videography content. I just love EDC, and I think this all plays in together. Like, you know, when Peter McKinnon makes a EDC video, it's kind of like that. So really hope you all enjoyed, got some value. If you want to see another cool video, you should look at this one over here, or check out the channel right over here. If you want to hit me up on Instagram for any ideas or any other cool things that you want to talk about or comment on, let me know somewhere on my social media, somewhere on screen. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you next video.